Right now, we are in the era of startups. We have more than 70 unicorns now. I'm sure we're getting to 200 very soon. A lot of money is being raised. A lot of founders have become rich. A lot of employees have become rich in the process also. But one thing weighs the subject, right? What are these guys doing when it comes to governance? I don't see any reporting. For example, recently, a unicorn's founder found a fraud in the previous company that he was in, but it was not reported when he started up this company and raised money. Nobody raised the point. It seems the world had forgotten because there was so much money to be made. I can't name the startup, of course, but your thoughts on this?
So I will focus on startup and good governance first, and I think that's your underlying question. Unfortunately, today there are more investors chasing lesser number of good startups or so-called good ideas. As long as it is happening that there is more demand than supply, the supply of good startups or good idea startups are lesser than the demand. There is euphoria over investors trying to invest into so-called good idea startups. Therefore, startups are getting overvalued. There is no question about it that the startups are overvalued almost 2/3 of the cases. We can go on and on. What is the valuation? Where does one feel the valuation is overvalued? We will not get to it. Now, this overvaluation leads to the second. The startups are youngsters. The businesses are 3 to 4 years old, 5 years old. And suddenly they see that their business is worth $1 billion. They perhaps didn't know that $1 billion needs how much rupee and what is the number of zeros it has. And their organizations now worth a few $1 billion. So overnight, it's a question of rags to rich stories too fast. And therefore, to my mind, they lose their mind. Many of us lose our mind if suddenly success hits us. If gradually a businessman or an entrepreneur becomes successful, it sinks into it. Suddenly a success happens, it doesn't sink at all. You will see many an Olympic champion who wins the Olympic medal in age of 18, 19, they would have burnt out at 23, 24 because success hits them, they lack practice, and then the next Olympic, they don't win at all. Very, very few. Youngster has continued to do well. Very, very few, not even 5%. This is what is happening to startups. And the third important issue is startups are not public companies. Therefore, their accounts are not audited. There is no chartered accountant who is audited, and you and me don't get to know that audited accounts. Therefore, many a time, the startup accounts are fudged. So if I can somehow show that my sales is $1 million, I can then raise $20 million of funds. I just somehow show $1 million, although it may not be even $100,000. And that's the problem. Point is, suddenly they become rich. Some few have good ideas. Success is hitting many, and the accounts are not audited because they are not public companies. So this mixture of negativities, if I may say, is an ideal combination for a potential fraud. And please don't be surprised that many of the startups who are now blue eyes and green eyes and yellow eyes in front of everyone will blow up sooner than later. And so all your investors, all the ones who are going to listen to the story, please be careful that all that what you see is not gold.